Hi guys, I'm Shawna Jordan. Welcome to The Hungry Soul. On today's episode, we're going to make a pie crust. Now this one in particular goes with my pie that is a pumpkin pie that has vanilla and maple in it. So we have some interesting flavors that are going to go into this crust. We're going to go over the ingredients and then we'll get started. For ingredients, I have some flour here, I have some sugar, salt, and then I have some chilled Crown Royal, vanilla extract and maple flavoring, and some ice water. And then I also have some butter in the fridge that's cut up into cubes. I'm leaving it in there to the last minute because when you make a pie crust, you want to use as cold ingredients as possible. Makes your crust nice and flaky. So we're going to go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to put this flour into the food processor here. And for measurements and ingredients, you can go to shawnajordan.com. This is a great pie crust. You can make it without all the flavorings and the booze and just add a little more ice water to it, and then you just have a regular nice flaky pie crust. But I'm making this with all these flavorings because we're making a pumpkin pie today that's got vanilla, maple, and Crown Royal in it, so it's kind of a special thing. Okay, so we've got our flour. I'm going to go ahead and put in the sugar and the salt, and then I'm going to put the lid on and we're just going to pulse that to mix it a little bit, if it will let me. Here we go. And that's all you got to do. All right, so I'm going to grab my butter from the fridge. And we're going to go ahead and see how I have it all cut up in little cubes here, and the tray's nice and cold so it'll stay cold while I work. I'm going to put about 1/3 to 1/2 of the butter in here just to get started. And we're going to pulse it just a little bit again. So you want to pulse this or run it until it gets like a nice fine crumble, almost like cornmeal. So now we're going to go ahead and add the rest of our butter. And we're going to do our vanilla and our maple flavoring and our Crown Royal. And really you can use any kind of bourbon you like. They even make a maple Crown Royal that would be fabulous in this. And usually you use 1 to 3 tablespoons of ice water. So I'm just going to start out with 2. You can always add more. Just a tiny bit more water even. There we go. Okay, I'm going in with more water. It's just about to come together. Okay, I think that's good. You can see there, it's moist that when I squeeze it, it sticks together, but yet it's crumbly until I do that. This is the perfect texture. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the food processor, and I'm just going to dump it right on the counter. Be careful of the blade. And now I'm just going to start pressing it together. Whoop. And I'm just going to form it into a disc. Pick up all those extras. Now we're going to go ahead and refrigerate this for a minimum of 30 minutes. You can do it overnight if you want, but it gives the glutens time to set up and it just really comes together nicely so it'll roll out well for you. Okay, so see how it's just a little bit dry yet? but it's moist enough that when I press it, it goes together. That's just what you want. So you can wrap it in saran wrap or put it in a plastic bag. It smells wonderful. I can't wait to see how it tastes. All right, I'm gonna put it in the fridge and we'll go ahead and roll it out in about a half hour. Okay, our crust has been resting in the fridge for about an hour now, so we're gonna go ahead and roll that out and get it baking so we can start on the pie filling. So the first thing we're gonna do is take it out of the plastic, and we're just gonna sprinkle a little bit of flour down, just so it doesn't stick to the counter. And you can go ahead and, flour your hands and flour your rolling pin, get a little on top. You can even flip it over, make sure it's coated good. And then just start rolling in all directions, trying to keep it in the shape of a circle. Start at the middle and roll your way out. And it's okay if it's crackly on the edges as you roll it, it just keeps coming together. It's good to go to about 12 inches if you can for a 9-inch pie plate. You can see all those little delicious bits of vanilla and maple in there, and as I'm rolling it out I can just smell that Crown Royal. Such a unique flavor for a pie crust. Alright, I think that's pretty close. Now that beep you hear is my oven. I have a cookie sheet in there preheating at 425 degrees, and after we get this all set in the pie plate, we're going to go ahead and set it right on that cookie sheet. Okay, this looks good. Now this is the difficult part. I'm going to use my pastry scraper, and we're just going to kind of fold this, loosen the edges, and then we're going to fold the crust in half. And if it's sticking on you, you can lay down a little more flour and kind of catch the edge of your scraper and just kind of drive it underneath there. Okay, and then we're just gonna fold it in half like that. And then you can even fold it in a corner. It just makes it easier to handle. And then once you get the rest up, you're gonna lay it in your pie plate like that. And then just start unfolding it. Careful not to tear it, and if you do, it's okay, you can patch it. Okay, so you want to sort of pull that to the edges, careful not to poke through it. And then anything that's hanging over the edge, we're just going to start to fold under like that. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're just going to go back around and mold it afterwards. So just kind of tuck it around so it's nice and even around the edges like that. Now if you want, you can go ahead and make a fancy little pinch pattern, or whatever works for you, however you like to do your pies. I kind of have long nails and they get in my way, so I like to use a fork. So I just kind of go around and make a uniform edge like that. And just kind of move it around until it's all nice and even. It's a handmade pie, it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, I think it looks more delicious because you know it's handmade. Okay, so now before we bake it, we're going to cover it with foil, just like that, and we're going to kind of tuck it down in and cover the edges of the pie. And make sure you tuck that in all the way. And then we're going to pour some beans in it. Now you can buy pie weights, but they're expensive. And beans, this is like $2 worth of beans. So I keep these in a jar and I use them whenever I make pies. You don't cook with them afterwards, they're just my pie making beans. But you're gonna fill that up just to weight it down, and that'll keep your crust from like bubbling up and getting all deformed on the bottom while it bakes. Alright, so now that we have it all ready, we're gonna go ahead and put it in the oven. We're gonna bake it at 425 on the cookie sheet, like I said, and then when that's we're gonna do that for 15 minutes. So when that's done, we're gonna pull the beans and the foil out, and then we're gonna bake it another 5 minutes and then it will be done and ready to be filled. Okay, our pie shell is done and it's ready to be filled. I baked it for 15 minutes like I said, and I took out the beans in the foil and went another 5 minutes, and it's so easy to make your own crust. There's just no need to go buy a store-bought one. So I hope that you'll try it, I hope that you'll like it, and I hope that you'll try it in different ways without the flavoring and with any pie that you would make. Thanks for joining me today. Live, love, and cook with passion, my friends.